It's my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker today. Graduates, are you excited about the future that awaits you? Are you ready to begin your new journey after graduation? Would you like a game plan for a long-lasting life of success? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you're in the right place today, because our speaker is here to share some of his success strategies. He's a graduate of Northwestern University. He's worked with leaders to accelerate performance and drive business impact in some of what Forbes magazine calls the world's most admired companies, including GE, Dell, and Apple. He enjoys creating videos, capturing moments through photography, and all things Apple. He's here to share 3 strategies for a long-lasting life of success. Please join me in welcoming executive coach, expert facilitator, and your commencement speaker today, Mr. Eddie Turner.
Good afternoon, class of 2015. Welcome to your commencement. Don't overlook education in the arts. There has been a tendency for students today to study the hard sciences, business, or computers. Arts training will provide the ability to think logically, and that's the commodity that's in the shortest supply in business. Studying the arts will develop skills that can help you in any career. Those are the words from financial guru Warren Goldring. And he was the chairman and CEO of one of Canada's largest investment management firms. That's advice he shared with students. And I think it's important to share that advice with you today. I think it's important because across the United States, arts programs are fighting to survive. In fact, according to one body of research from Harvard, since 2008, more than 80% of art funds have been cut from U.S. school districts. By comparison, or contrast, imagine, if you will, instead of being one of the first programs cut and the last to be restored, if more people celebrated and extolled the value of the arts. Imagine, if you will, where we lived in a world where people understood that if you want innovation, if you want creativity, you must study the arts. Well, in this room, there are almost 200 of you who do understand the value of the arts. There are almost 200 of you who understand that while math and science indeed are important, it is the arts that are also important to developing a holistic mind that is truly educated. You sit here this afternoon as champions of the arts, and you will receive an art degree from the Art Institute of Houston. I've seen some of your work, and it's very impressive. You've worked very hard. You and your parents and family have every reason to be proud. Yes, that's all right. Clap forward. So we are here to celebrate the arts, and we are here to celebrate you, class of 2015. Would you all do me a favor? On the count of 3, I want you to shout as loud as you can and say, "We did it." Can you do that? All right. 1, 2, 3. We did it! Yes, you did. Now, I'm originally from the Chicago area, and now that I'm a Texan, I think I actually was supposed to say, "You did it, y'all." Okay, thank you for correcting me. I still haven't quite got it right. Well, I want to thank Amy Gordon, and I want to thank President Behrens of the Art and the Art Institute faculty for inviting me to be your speaker. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're wondering, who is this guy? Well, the truth is, I understand originally Amy invited Adam Levine to be your speaker. And there was a little conflict with his schedule. So then she went to Katy Perry. And I understand that Katy wasn't available, and I think in a moment of desperation, she reached out to Lil Wayne. So since none of those folks were available, you're stuck with me. Now, who I am doesn't really matter much, right? Folks don't usually remember their commencement speaker. But when you leave here today, there are 3 things that I would like for you to remember. I want you to remember to learn, lead, and lend. Learn, lead, and lend. I believe that learning to be a lifelong learner, continuing to learn, and living as a leader, and then lending of ourselves are 3 strategies for lifelong success. Now, you've reached the end of your formal studies as a student, but today you are now at your commencement. You are about to commence or begin something very new. You will now take the knowledge that you've gained, the experiences through this institution, and go out and do something with them. Now, what's the first thing I want to ask you to do? Well, I want you to think about this concept of learning. Now, you say, we've done that already. That's why we're here, right? You've learned and you've demonstrated your competency as learners, but I want you to now embrace this ideal of being a lifelong learner. That means that your learning does not end today. Being a lifelong learner means that you will now take the knowledge and education you have and keep pushing yourselves. Why is this important? This is important because in 12 to 18 months, many things you've learned will no longer be relevant. Society changes at an ever faster pace than ever before. Therefore, don't get complacent. Do not get comfortable. It is important to continue to challenge yourself, to grow, to update your skills. Always maintain a sense of urgency when it comes to learning. Now, how many of you know what a CEO is? All right, everybody's hands up. Excellent. Chief Executive Officer. Now, how many of you want to be a CEO? Excellent. We see a few hands there. Very good. Now, from this day forward, I want you to think about being the Chief Executive Officer, the CEO of your own life. And your family, your folks who depend on you, think of them as your shareholders that you report to. All right? Now, an author who I really enjoy, Brian Tracy, he wrote a book that I recommend that you look at. It's called Goals. And he talks about this concept. And the point is, every CEO is tasked with returning dividends to the investors. So you must become 10%, 15%, 20% better next year than you are this year. You must constantly grow. Challenge yourself to be better next year than you are this year. Now, what are some ways you can do this? Some learning, as what you've experienced here at the Art Institute, is very structured. It's very formal. But there are other ways you can learn. One of the ways you can learn is from mentors. Mentors are people who provide advice, counsel, and guidance. They can be younger or they can be older. They can be professional or they can be academic. The important thing that you need to remember is that it's all about relationships. So I encourage you to develop relationships with people who can help you to continue to grow. I'm very fortunate to say that I have several mentors, both male and female, and I owe them all a great deal of gratitude. Perhaps the one that's had the most profound impact on me is a man named Bob Dean. Now, before I met Bob Dean, I was simply a technology expert. But Bob, he saw more in me. He invested in me. He mentored me. Bob helped me move from the area of technology to operating in the professional space I operate in today. And then later on, I developed relationships with additional mentors. I could spend the rest of the afternoon telling you about people like Debbie Richards, Tim Durkin, Karen McCullough. But the question is, who is your Bob Dean? Who is your Debbie, your Tim, your Karen? Who do you know? Who can you develop a relationship with that will help you, that will develop you? Find a mentor. Is it someone here at the Art Institute? What about mom and dad or another member of your family? Perhaps someone that you work with at your place of employment. Finding a mentor is key to a long-lasting life of success. Now, people who are lifelong learners, they become leaders. Now, what's a leader? Leadership, these are things that are talked about everywhere. The bookstores are filled with books on leadership. And oftentimes we think of it only through one lens. We think of it as someone who has a title, CEO, president, manager. But I want you to think of it and look at it through a different lens. Some of you are already in the workforce. Others are going to join the workforce very soon. I saw the hat on one of the young ladies that says, "Hire me." So I want you to know that when you go into the workforce, it's not just about title. You can be a leader from day one in your career. You can lead at all levels. It's not about position. It is about how you conduct yourself on a daily course, the way you live. Make it your goal to always be a leader by modeling excellence. Live as a leader. Now, this is a school for the arts. And living as a leader means that you're going to lead your industry. And I looked at some of the work that you've done, and I've talked to some of you beforehand. I believe that the next chef, like Bobby Flay, is sitting here. I believe that the next great cinematographer, like Ken Burns, is sitting here. The next fashion designer, like Vera Wang, she's in this room. He's in this room. So someone is going to leave an indelible mark on the world. Someone is going to change the world in this room. Is it you? All right. The ancient philosopher Confucius said, "Choose a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life." You chose the arts because that's your passion. Now that you've found your passion, continue to pursue it as a leader. Now, living as a leader means there's something that you need to be aware of. You need to be aware that at some point in your career, there's going to be someone who comes and tells you what you cannot do. There's going to be someone that comes along and tells you that you're not good enough. You're not experienced enough. You're not ready. I want you to ignore them. Ignore people who tell you that your dreams are too big because their vision is too small. But you know someone else you'll have to ignore? Sometimes it's that voice in your own mind. Sometimes our self-talk tells us ourselves, you're not good enough, you're not experienced enough, you're not ready. If you're not ready, if you're not good enough, get good enough. But don't let someone else's vision of you, don't let your own self-talk or limited thinking keep you from the success that you deserve. Live every moment as a leader. This is key to long-lasting life success. Now, how can you gain leadership skills? There are many ways to do this. One way would be for you to think about joining associations. Now, there are different associations. For example, the Association for Culinary Arts, Fashion Design, or Media. Whatever your subject area is that you've studied, there's an association that supports that. Now, that may sound a little old-fashioned, join an association, right? But really, in associations, they're full of mentors willing to help you and take you to the next level. Now, I'll share a story with you from my own experience, and I'll be honest. I was invited to an association here in Texas, the National Speakers Association. And the first time I was invited, I did not want to go. But I said, okay, I'll go, I'll listen, and then I'll never have to go again. Well, I went, and you know what happened. I was amazed at what I learned. And then toward the end of the session, I looked up and I saw a gentleman coming toward me. He's the president of the association. Kind of looks like 007, James Bond in some of the later movies. And in his hand, he had an application. He says, how did you enjoy the session? Of course, I said, it was great. So he hands me the application. He says, then you should join. And I looked at the application and I said, wow, my eyes raised. It's a little steep membership fee here. Why would I join? What's in it for me? That's what I wanted to know. And he basically looked at me and said, young man, in my day, people didn't question if they needed to join an association. They simply joined. He said, a doctor would not think of joining the American Medical Association, the AMA. A lawyer would not think of joining the ABA, the American Bar Association. He says, if you're serious about the business of speaking, you need to be a part of the association that represents speakers, the professional association. So I ended up joining the local chapter in Houston and the national chapter. What did I discover? In addition to learning a lot, continuing as a lifelong learner, there are opportunities in associations. You get your mentor, but you develop leadership skills. There are opportunities to lead community events, lead conferences, also joining the board. You develop leadership skills. And then you are learning. It's been said that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you want to continue to grow, and you have to challenge yourself by being around people that are more experienced than you, that are more developed and more accomplished. And in associations, this is exactly what you find. So you continue to learn and accelerate your learning curve, because you don't have to make certain mistakes because they've already made them. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So you get a chance to learn, you get a chance to lead. But while you're doing those two things, there's something else that happens in associations. And that is, you get a chance to lend. Because everything that you're learning, you then give back to someone else. You develop the ability to understand how important it is to constantly give to others. Lend of yourself. I want you to do me a favor. Look at your fist. Make a fist, everybody. And when you have a fist in front of you, if I want to now give you a gift, can you get that gift? No. What do you have to do? You have to open your hand. When you open your hand as a giver, as a lender, oftentimes people who are giving of themselves find it that they also receive. So give of yourself. Be a lender. Lend of your time, your energy, your talents. And in some cases, as you get further along in your career, you'll give financially. You'll give to your community. You'll give to the institution that's helped you. Right? Give of yourselves. Be a lender. A wise man once said that there is more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. Yes, being a lender is key to long-lasting life success. Someone shared a quote with me from an unknown source that I want to share with you. Choosing a university is more than deciding where you want to spend the next few years in school. It's a decision about how you want to spend your life. When you decided to pursue an education and you picked the Art Institute of Houston, You picked the school that has educated people in the Houston community for over 50 years. This decision affects the rest of your life. And many students have graduated from the Art Institute of Houston and gone on to enjoy tremendous success. Let me tell you about one that I know personally. Let me tell you about my friend Jenna. I met Jenna at the last place that I worked. Now, I had met Jenna, but then later on, and I'd seen some of her work. It was very impressive. But later on, Jenna enrolled in a corporate class that I taught. And so I got to know her better, and one of the things I learned about Jenna is that she spent 3 years as the global e-learning developer for Continental Airlines, which now today is United, one of the largest airlines in the world. She left that role and took another global e-learning developer role at GE, General Electric. Today, Jenna is the learning architect for the corporate university of FMC Technologies, a major gas and oil manufacturer here in the Houston, Texas area. And in 2013, FMC Technologies was rated one of the most innovative companies in the world. Now, do you know where Jenna got her start? Jenna sat right where you're sitting 10 years ago. Jenna graduated from this institution, the Art Institute of Houston, with a degree in interactive media design in 2005. Jenna, through her work in global e-learning programs, has literally made an impact on the world. She's been very successful. If we don't have the arts, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have a complete society. The world needs more Jennas and more students like you produced by the Art Institute of Houston. Like Jenna and other graduates before you, I am confident that a bright future awaits each and every one of you. May you reap the benefits of all of your hard work and achieve the success you envisioned as you continue to remain committed to being lifelong learners who live as leaders and who lend of yourselves. Learn, lead, and lend. Congratulations again to you and to your family and friends who've supported you.